Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Soul Speak, the podcast for teens. I am your host, Emily Miller, Teen Intuitive. All right, so this week we are going to continue on in our Bodyworks series. So this week I thought we could do like a little miscellaneous wrap up episode where we kind of put in some little things that happen to people often and give the emotional root cause of those, so you guys can see where those are stemming from. And then I think this will probably be our last episode of this. I do want to invite you guys to put in the comments section if there's anything that we haven't covered in the Bodywork series that you would like to know more about. If there's something that I missed, something that you can think of with, issues that you have with the body that I can give you guys some more insight into why they might be happening for you, not to you. Notice how I said that. Because everything that happens to us in our bodies happens for us. It happens for a purpose, for a reason. And that's one thing that I kind of really want to hammer in this episode that is so important, because so many people, I've said this before, but so many people feel like their body is working against them, that their body's like the enemy. Their body has to be fixed. Their body has to be changed. There has to be, medications that the body has to take. You have to treat it kind of harshly in order to fix it by giving it all of this external stuff, when really the magic comes from within. Like, the healing comes from within, the changes come from within, and you have everything within you in order to change all of these things that happen to your body that don't feel good. We have 100% power and control over how our bodies can be. And if you don't like it, remember, you always have the power to change it into something that you do like. That's literally why I am here, to show you guys all of the ways that your body loves you so much. Your body is not fighting against you. Your body isn't attacking you. Your body is communicating to you. It is talking to you. It's speaking to you. We just have to learn its language. And you guys are getting a really, really good head start listening to these podcasts and figuring out, at the very basic level, what your body is communicating to you, what it's saying, how the body works. And we've been, taught all these things in our lives where, our body is something that, like I said, we have to fix and take all these medications in order to get it to behave the way that we want it to behave. But it's exactly the opposite. Our body loves us, loves us, loves us, and just wants us to listen to it. So it gives us these big reflections, these big issues, these big things that we have to address. So it causes us to stop. It causes us to think. It causes us to, try to find solutions for the ways that it's feeling. Or the way that we're feeling, that it's making us feel, making us feel. I just put that in quotes. So we want to always be thinking, instead of, why is my body, treating me this way? Why is my body working against me? How is it working for me? What are the communications my body is trying to give me so that I can feel good, so that I can get on path, so that I can be doing and living this, gorgeous, source aligned, higher self aligned life? And all of the things that I've taught you in this series are ways to start doing that. So flipping the idea of my body is working against me and changing it to, my body loves me so much, it's trying to help me. And then going from that point and saying, okay, what is my body communicating to me? We want to completely banish that old belief of the body being something separate from your, emotional state. They are completely intertwined. They are perfectly merged together in a way to very loudly, instantly, and easily communicate to you the ways that you're off path. Um, the body is like the quickest communicator to you, the easiest one to see, because we can't ignore whenever the body is in pain. You can't ignore when you have the flu. You can't ignore whenever you are disliking your overweight state, or you can't ignore it when you stub your toe. You know, like those things are things that make you stop in your tracks and start to try to figure out what is going on here. So, know that anytime you stub your toe, whatever the things are, don't say, oh my gosh, I'm clumsy. Why did that happen? Or that just happened because I'm clumsy. You're not clumsy. Your body's communicating to you. And you're, whatever the thing is that you're feeling in your body that you don't like, it's not something that is like a death sentence for you that you have to keep and hold on to for the rest of your life. People get diagnoses all the time and they heal from them and they are able to change them. So if you've ever heard a story, no matter what your diagnosis is from whomever the person is who gave it to you, if you've ever heard of a story one time in this whole entire world that somebody has been able to be cured from it, they've been able to overcome it, then that means that it's possible. If you can find one person on the planet who has ever overcome something, that means it's possible for you. Remember, source and higher self are not cruel. They would never show you something that is not able to be accomplished by you. They are showing you these things so that you can understand it is possible. And if it's possible for someone else, it is fully and completely 100% possible for you. Okay. So let's go into a couple of these different issues that people might be experiencing. And again, this is just kind of like a miscellaneous list, like a little wrap up of things that I'm like, okay, what are some very common things people have all the time, that this could start helping everybody start to decode and see what their issues might be stemming from, their emotional root cause. Because remember, we're always getting down to that emotional root cause. What is the thought, feeling, and belief that we're holding about ourselves that is creating this issue? Okay. So, one of the things that I always have people wanting to know about is stomach stuff. So, the first thing I thought of, we'll kind of go back to the whole periods situation. And especially a lot of females will talk about this, or people have a lot of issues with it after like eating certain foods, and it's bloating. So bloating stems from you being or holding on to things that aren't serving you. So like, let's say after you eat, you feel like you're super bloated and your stomach is like, protruding, it's sticking out a little bit. You don't feel good. It kind of just makes you feel icky because you're holding on to this. And that would be you holding on to things that maybe are a little bit toxic for you, things that you feel aren't like serving you, that aren't very good for you to hold on to, ideas, thoughts, beliefs about whatever the thing is, which we would look into intuitively and figure that exact thing out so that you can release it and let go of it. And then when you release it, the bloating can let go and dissipate. Some people will wake up in the mornings and they'll have bloating in their face, around the cheeks or under like the eyes, where your body kind of retains the fluid and holds on to it. And remember, our face is the way that we think people perceive us, so what people think about us. And then the bloating would be holding on to those ideas that aren't serving you, those ideas that aren't true. And so it's you holding on to that. And so you wake up kind of bloated and swollen in the face. So that's where that can come from. And because I know that's a big thing, because every time I'll like open up Instagram or something, there's a new tool, a new gua sha, a new, I just saw these advertisements for these face brushes. There's all this stuff about the face bloating and draining the face and all of that. which is good. Like, we need to drain all the fluid that's excess in the body because it kind of holds on to it. And like I said, we want to release all of the toxic stuff. So there are physical actions that you can take to release it too. But if you don't address that emotional part of it, that holding on to the things that aren't serving you, then the bloat's just going to come right back. So you can gua sha all day long and, take whatever kind of pills you want to take all day long for any sort of stomach bloating or things for after you eat. But it's just going to come right back if you don't address the emotional root cause. So remember, that's super important whenever it comes to any of these things, is that you can do the physical action. You could take the pill, you could use the tool, you could do all these different things to release these symptoms that you're having within the body. But if you don't get to the emotional root cause, it won't last. So there are solutions for it. They just maybe won't be lasting. So you can have temporary relief by using those things. But if you want to really be gone with it, we get to that deep emotional root cause. Another stomach issue that people have a lot of times is nausea, and vomiting and stuff like that. So if you ever experience that sort of thing, it's coming from a rejection of an idea. So it might be, let's say you are learning something new, maybe let's say you're taking a philosophy class. I don't know. Mental counseling and mental health class. That was one we had at my high school. And this new idea came, and you were like, oh no, that can't be true. I don't believe that. I learned it this way, and I know that this is the way that it's supposed to happen. And so that ego brain starts coming in and that new idea can't be true. And so this idea comes in, and you're like, nope, that's not true. I can't accept that. That is something that is not something that's going to be good for me. It's not. Even though it might be something that is really good for you, and this new idea that you've learned really sheds some light on a situation for you, but you're rejecting it, and you're like, nope, I'm not taking this. I know it's going to be good for me, but my ego brain's not letting me take on this new idea, and I'm rejecting it, I'm refusing it, and that could bring on nausea, vomiting, that kind of thing. What other kind of stomach issues? I think bloating, nausea, and the vomiting are kind of the same thing. So they'll be related in some way, shape, or form. We've talked about holding on extra weight on the tummy, and that's always, that extra layer of fat is a layer of protection. It's shielding you from your own mean words. So take that one again. Another big one is headaches. I think I told you guys this before, but I used to get monster migraines, debilitating ones. I remember one day I was driving into work, and I used to get these waves of vision in my vision, and it would make my eyesight blurry, and it would kind of tunnel vision, and I couldn't see out here. It was really scary whenever I would get them, especially the first time I got one. I had no idea what was coming. And so I would get those, and then I actually had to call into work and be like, I'm sorry, I can't come. I have to turn around because I can't drive my car. That's how debilitating it was. And then I had to go home and literally shut off all the lights, turn off all sounds, and close my eyes until it was done. They were intense. So if anybody is suffering from migraines, I feel you. I know what is happening. So headaches and migraines are kind of the same thing. But headaches are, and they also depend on where you're getting them in your head. So if they're behind the eyes, or if they're in the eyes, you can get those headaches in the eyes, or it's a pounding in the head, or it could be a back pain or a kind of one that goes into the neck and the head back here. And so each of those are going to have a little bit of a different story, a little bit of a different tune to them. And so when you get a headache, no matter what area of the head it's in, know that it's always going to be a sign that you are beating yourself up mentally. Like the things that you are saying to yourself are not nice. You are like going in on yourself. You're literally beating yourself up. Think of if you get those kind of headaches where you have the pain right here in the temples. The temples are gonna be your like immediate thoughts, and so it's like a boom, boom, boom that you're just like beating yourself up over these thoughts, and it's going over and over and over again. So you might have it might start as a thought of let's say you were in class, you raised your hand and you answered a question, but you felt like the answer was really dumb, right? Like, obviously it wasn't, but you felt like that thing that you said was really dumb. And you're like, oh my God, I should not have said that. I shouldn't have said that out loud. I shouldn't have raised my hand. It was so dumb. And then you're like, uh, clamping on to that thought, you're holding on to that thought, you're keeping it in your head, and then you're replaying the instance, and you keep thinking about it, and I shouldn't have said this, and I should have said it that way, and I shouldn't have done this, and I should have done that. And so you're just like on a loop in your brain thinking of all the things that you did wrong during that situation. And then once you start thinking about that situation, then it might pull up another situation, and like, oh my God, you were so dumb whenever you were talking about this thing with your friend, and then you said that, and then oh my God, and then the other thing. And so it gets into this like butterfly effect, like a negative butterfly effect, to where it's taking you down this trail of all of these bad things that you said about yourself, or that you're saying about yourself, about all these instances that you thought you did the wrong thing. So you're constantly going and beating yourself over the head basically with this, and that's what's causing these headaches. And then migraines are a very intense version of that. So headaches can come and go. You might get them, like we talked about, during your period. Headaches might come in. And so listen back to that episode if you haven't yet listened to it. And we talk about how the symptoms that you get, like through PMSing times and through your period, are ways that you have been being about yourself throughout that month's cycle. So go back and listen to that because it's really good. It kind of explains how the symptoms come about. But the migraine situation is like an intense version of headaches. So it would have to be something that you were doing to yourself for a while, because migraines are really big. They're really long lasting, and they're impactful. Like I said with mine, like they literally like made me bedridden for a small amount of time, you know? So in order for my body to have a reaction that's that big, it has to be something that you're doing over an extended period of time. And that is the case for all body stuff. So if you have a little situation that comes up, a little tiny headache that pops up, then that means that within the last, hour, you were doing that thing to yourself. But then let's just say you brushed it off. You hadn't listened to this episode yet, and you didn't know that the reason why you had that headache was because you were being mean to yourself about something that you did, right? And so instead of flipping it and trying to figure out how to solve that, where did that stem from? Why did I get the headache? All the things. Then you just ignored it. You let the headache come, you let it go, and then you get another headache the next day, and then another headache the next day. And then eventually it turns into something that's bigger, like migraines. And that's how these reflections go. So you can have the body reflections and, well, your reflections in all areas of life, and all people, places, situations, circumstances, they all work this way. So they start out really small, and if we ignore them, then they grow. And each time we ignore them, they get bigger and they get bigger until we have to face them, until we have to figure out a solution that's better than taking a Tylenol, So that's why all of these are here for us, to warn us, and we get the little warning signs, and then they grow until it's something that we can no longer ignore. That's kind of how the cancer works. I know we've talked about this before, but like because cancer always stems from a deep-seated anger. and it has to be something that grows for a very long time. That's why you see older people who have more instances of cancer than younger most of the time. But that's how it happens, is that it starts as this small thing, this small anger. And then whenever you just glaze over it and just feel like you have to live that way, then it grows. And then you harbor deeper resentment and deeper anger. And then it gets bigger and bigger. And your body has to give you this big sign, this big, flashing warning thing that you will never be able to ignore in order for you to change. That's how these people, these cancer survivors, they will, get their solution however it comes, but along with it, they a lot of times will have a change of heart. They'll have a change of way that they live their lives. They're like, shit, I almost just died of cancer. Like, I gotta change my life. Like, I get a new lease on life. I have a second chance. And then they start living like a lot more lighter, carefree life, because they're like, I don't have time to deal with all of this anger, all of this hard stuff, all of the stuff that's weighing me down. I'm going to be appreciative of my life. And so they get this big flip, and that's how people who have cancer and then they beat it and then it never comes back, that's what happens. They have this new lease on life and they get like a second chance, which is really cool that Source made it that way. So back to the migraines, is that they are just that headache situation, but like times 10. So they get bigger. And so that is where headaches stem from. And then, another thing that I wanted to talk about was sleep. So many people have sleep issues. Um, they all stem from different things, right? But the most common one that I have people ask about is being able to like stay asleep through the night and get enough rest. And so, whenever you are having sleeping problems, if you feel like, oh, I'm not getting enough rest during the night, what happens is you will be a person who, through during the day, is feeling like you aren't giving yourself what you need to rest and refuel in between activities, which is kind of cool. So, like, you'll have somebody who is just like go, 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 go throughout the day. And then at the end of their day, instead of being like, oh my gosh, I just did so much. I just accomplished everything that I needed to do. I did this. I got to, I had good food. I had good time with my friends and family. I accomplished this for my work. I did this for my body. I did this with my money. I, made all these really great moves all day long, and now it's time to sleep and I can go to bed. But instead of doing that, they are like, I hustled all day long. What is the saying? I did the rise and grind, and then now it's time for bed, but I still didn't do everything I needed to do. I should have done this. I should have done that. I didn't make the right amount of time to finish this goal. I didn't do all these things. And so instead of having a list of accomplishments and amazing things that they did throughout the day, typically the thoughts running in their head at night are a laundry list, a check-off list of all the things. I didn't do this, I didn't do that, and da 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 da. And you know what happens whenever you are trying to sleep and you have a running list of things that you didn't get done and still need to do? The brain is never going to be able to shut down. And so it just keeps running, 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 and you can never just shut it down to rest and recharge and get all of the energy that you need back to go on to your day for the next day. And then it just becomes a cycle. And so every night becomes a night of not sleeping. So that's kind of the reflection of like waking up a lot throughout the night, or like not being able to go to sleep or stay asleep. And there's a bunch of different ones that go in with sleeping too much, not sleeping enough, waking up a lot throughout the night. So each of them, just like the headaches in the different places, have different meanings along the story. So there's all sorts of different things that can come from these sleeping reflections, but that's just kind of one that's super common, and where that one stems from, that emotional root cause of feeling like you aren't giving yourself yourself the things that you need throughout the day. And so it's going to reflect on how you're able to get the things you need from yourself at night when you need to shut off and rest and recoup. So that's kind of a really broad list of a few different things that you guys might be experiencing in your lives. And like I said, there's so many different ones, and each and every one has its very, very unique story that it is trying to communicate to you. And so it's really cool to get to that emotional root cause of what those things are. And if you are curious about what yours might be, whatever the body thing is that you're experiencing, or even if it's a person, place, situation, circumstance, any of those things, I have a new offering and it's completely free on my site, on my website. And it is a little mini intuitive read. And so, if you guys are interested in those, you can go to my website. I'll have the link in the show notes, and you can go to the freebies section. And in there, I have some really fun little tools. I have a nice little oh my gosh, what do you call it, a phone background that has a reminder on it to compliment yourself, to start talking really nice to yourself and putting that out in your creator field. There is also an abundance finder there, so if you listened to the episode There's No Such Thing as Lack, it's a really good accompaniment tool for that. And then also the freebie mini read is on there. So if you are curious about any of these body things, go there, sign up for that, and I will send you a little mini read. And be sure to sign up for the newsletter so that you can get all the updates, invites to exclusive events, and everything like that. And next week we are going to do a podcast on anxiety. So unless I get something like really cool and pressing in the notes about body stuff, we're going to kind of move on. And then that episode's next week should be about anxiety, and we're going to kind of reframe it for you and give a new take, a new lease on what anxiety really is. So this week, just kind of think, what is my body communicating to me? Pause, slow down, and think, how can I serve my body in a better way? How can I shift out of this emotional state that I am currently in, that my body is trying to communicate to me, and change it a little bit to ease those symptoms, to ease whatever it is in your body that doesn't feel good. So that is it for this week, and I will see you next week. Have a gorgeous, gorgeous week.